Today is Monday, April 21st, and I'm just wondering about this year's name game in the NFL Draft.
We aim to turn your nest egg into a paycheck with half the amount you've been led to believe. Fluent Financial combines in-house portfolio design and risk management with income-generating investments designed to accelerate your financial independence. Our goal is to develop an effective portfolio strategy to help you retire sooner and have a better lifestyle. Visit fluentfinancial.com.
I love the NFL Draft. I've loved it since I began doing it wall-to-wall in 1986. We were the first station to ever tackle the wall-to-wall broadcast of the draft, first pick to last. And I'm not certain we're still not the only station that does every minute of the NFL Draft on the air. And I love the name game. I don't know what sets me off on this. I don't know why I started fiddling with the names, but I do, and every year the name game's been a staple of our NFL Draft coverage. Each year, the NFL drafts a bit over 250 players into the league. This year, that number is 257. But 339 prospects got invited to the Combine, and there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more players who are eligible to be chosen. They just won't be. I have waded through the list of these draft eligibles to create this year's NFL Draft name game. Starting on Thursday, teams can draft a Mafa'a, a Matavayo, a Mazkuza, who has two Z's and two C's back-to-back in his last name, or you could take a Mitsuguchi, Shunto Mitsuguchi, a wide receiver from Mount San Antonio College. Take an Mbao, or a Membu, or a McDoom, or a Mumpfield, or grab a McCoy. But from his numbers, Tennessee wide receiver Brew McCoy does not look like the real McCoy. There are 8 Joneses, but no Jerry, no Stephen, no Jerry Jr., and no Charlotte, who I don't believe would be allowed to play in the league anyway under the present presidential administration. Take a cornerback named Fortune, whose solid ratings suggest he'll make a small fortune in the NFL. This year, somebody will be remembering Lacey. There's a Lippy, a longer beam, a loop, and a wide receiver named Love from Long Island. But given his poor rating, it doesn't appear this love's going to last long. Select a Keys, a Kite, a Kitty, and a Klotz. Or choose punter Kai Kroger from South Carolina. Imagine, you could own your own Kroger. And, of course, it would be fresh for everyone. Choose a Panzer, a Pay, a Purchase, a Peck, or a Peoples. And then there's an offensive tackle from Washington State named as a Pole. But the arrow for this pole is pointing definitely south. There's a Texas wide receiver named Bond, who unfortunately was recently out on bond. There's an Oklahoma wide receiver named Ethan Downs. But should you take Ethan Downs at cut time, you'll realize you're almost surely going to suffer a loss on downs. There's a hiker who's not a hiker. There is a cornerback named Pickett. And in the violent world of the NFL, would you want to draft a linebacker named Pius? Wisconsin linebacker John Pius, whose nickname has to be Pope Pius. There are 2 Noels, but from their respective ratings, Iowa State wide receiver Jalen Noel will be the first Noel taken. There's a Hemingway who can play and a Penn who's worth nothing to write home about. Select safety Maxon Hook from Toledo, where last year he was a team captain. That's right, he actually was Captain Hook. Select a Stout who's small and a Biggers who's really big. Take a Sanker, a Savage who's not, a Session who won't last long, and a Strong who isn't particularly. Or pick any of the 4 Scots, but none of them appear to be great Scots. Take a quarterback named Rising, whose ratings are falling. There are 3 Wrights, but none of them appear to be Mr. Wright. There are 12 Johnsons available, along with 2 guys named Cox and another named Wang. So theoretically, if you had enough draft picks, you could go home with 12 Johnsons, 2 Cox, and a Wang. Choose a Batty, a Bassa, or a Boron, a Brayboy, a Brimming Stool, or a Burnup. There are 2 Bentleys, a car, and a van. Or pick Miami defensive tackle Simon Barrow. But from his ratings, he's not going to be a big wheel. There's a Howard safety named Gallup, but his 40 times suggest he's never reached a full gallop. In 1993, Bob opened the original Bob's Steak and Chop House on Lemon Avenue. 32 years later, the original Bob still greets you at the original Bob's. And now his sparkling new Bob's at Craig Ranch has opened in McKinney. Same fantastic beef and fresh seafood at these 2 Bob's, each run by the Bob's Steak and Chop House. Are you struggling to cook healthy meals that actually taste good? Not sure what seasonings go together to make your food pop? Well, let's be honest. You need something quick and easy for your busy schedule, and OPA, O-P-A, OPA has you covered. Introducing OPA seasonings. Mary just loves them on meat, fish, chicken, veggies, salads. Just sprinkle, enjoy, and you will love OPA. You get it easily. You go to the website, opafoods.com, O-P-A foods.com. Use the promo NORM and you get 10% off your order. And here's the best part. A portion of every purchase goes to the Austin Street Shelter for the Homeless, helping those in need while you enjoy great food. Delicious meals, a great cause, and savings. What's not to love? Try OPA today. Would you like some color on your team? Well, all these are there to choose from. 6 browns, 1 blue, 5 greens, 1 gray, 1 golden, 2 roses, 6 blacks, including an Iowa defensive tackle named Yaya Black, and 3 whites. And it's been a long time since we've had this many whites in the NFL draft. There's a Weaver and a Webb, and a Badger that did not go to Wisconsin. There are 4 banks, including 2 coming off injuries, and that indicates you can break these banks. There's a linebacker named Bars, who set a very low bar, and a center named Jacob Bayer from Arkansas State. But if you draft him, you might need to take a couple of Bayers. Tongue-tie your game announcers Brad Sham and Babe Laufenberg by drafting Maryland defensive tackle Tony Akingbesate, Boston College edge Donovan Ezire Uwaku, Arizona guard Jonathan Savayanea, or Washington safety Cameron Fanakulanan. Hopefully, someone will draft SMU wide receiver Moochie Dixon, and some other team in that division will grab Rutgers safety Flip Dixon. so that next year we'll get to see the Battle of the Dixons. Can Flip cover Moochie? And finally, there's a very draftable Arkansas wide receiver named Isaac Tesla. But be careful if you take him. There's been a lot of vandalisms lately on Teslas.
Today's episode brought to you by Fluent Financial, Retire Sooner, Better Lifestyle, by Bob's Steak and Chop House, and by Opa Seasonings. Savor the flavor in your food.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Just Wondering with Norm Hitzges. If you enjoyed what you heard, please hit follow, and a fresh new episode will be delivered to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you know someone who might enjoy our work, please share it with them. I'm Norm Hitzges, and I'm always just wondering about something.
And I'm Mary Hitzges, and I'm just wondering too.